My books are back from CGC, but they made a huge mistake, and it's simply bananas. Hey everyone, and welcome to Still Only 35 Cents. For this one, I've got a CGC unboxing of my signature series books that I submitted at Heroes Con in Charlotte, North Carolina earlier this year. If you've been following the channel for a while, you would have seen some of those books in the live streams that I posted throughout the show itself. But before we get started, the usual stuff. If you're new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing that notification bell for future content. And if you like the video, make sure to hit that like button on the way out. So as regular viewers of the channel will know, I attended Heroes Con earlier this year and took a number of books with me to get signed by creators. Now for those who don't know, CGC offer a service where they will give you a witness to go around with you whilst you're having your book signed, and that's how you get a signature series yellow label on your books. So each book has to be witnessed, being signed by the creator, and then sealed in a bag. Now I did this for around 11 books, which I ended up submitting, all of which had been witnessed and were sealed in the bags, and so I submitted them to CGC and thought everything was fine. Fast forward 2 months later, when the books finally got back, and that's another story folks, this submission took well over the turnaround times that CGC quoted, and in particular it got stuck in pressing of all things. The excuse was that 2 of the books in particular in this submission needed additional attention. Anyway, I've just got back the books this week and thought it would be good to share with you the results that I got from this, as well as a fascinating error on CGC's part. So without further ado, let me take you through each of the books one by one, give you a bit of background on each. So first off the list is this Starslayer number 2 from Pacific Comics in April 1982. This one's notable because it features the first appearance of the Rocketeer, a classic Dave Stevens story. And you can see that on the back cover here with the story on the interior pages. It's a great book to have in the collection. It was a 9.6 previously, a blue label. I'd submitted it from a bunch of books that I'd bought whilst I was in Los Angeles with John from Bronze and Modern Gods at his local comic book store, and they had a number of high grade copies there, which I purchased 2 of them, one of which graded a 9.8. I thought I'd give this a chance to have another clean and press alongside with the signature to see if we got a grade bump. Unfortunately it didn't, it stayed at the 9.6, but nonetheless a great book to have with great signature by Mike Grell on the cover. Next up is Fantasy Quarterly number 1 by Independent Publishing Syndicate from spring 1978. And this book features the first appearance of the characters from Elfquest. And I was very fortunate enough to get this signed by Richard and Wendy Pini whilst they were at the show. This was one of the books that I really wanted to get submitted and sent through to the signature series. It was quite pricey to get this one signed. I think they were charging around about $100 for this book alone because they're not fans of the print quality of this original appearance of Elfquest. They much prefer to sign the books that they self-published through their own imprint label, Warp Graphics. Now, this is a fantastic book. It was originally a 9.4 blue label when I got the book, so I cracked it open, got it repressed and graded by CGC as part of the signature series submission, and it came back a 9.6. So I'm really happy that that has seen a grade bump. It's the only one in the whole submission that got a grade bump, but nonetheless, it's the right book to get a grade bump. This goes for around about $700, and I think I picked it up for about $200 in the blue label. So super happy with the investment on this one and the grade bump that I got. Next up is Justice League number 5 from DC Comics in September 1987. This one was signed by Kevin McGuire and features that great altercation between Batman and Guy Gardner. If you haven't read this book, I'd urge you to find it online, for that page is one of the most classic moments in comic book history. Again, great book to get in the PC and a 9.8 to boot. Really happy with that. This one's a real special one for me because I'm a huge fan of Excalibur and Alan Davis. So this book is the second printing of Excalibur's special edition that came out prior to the Excalibur ongoing series. As you can see here, it was signed by Alan Davis at the event. It was originally a 9.6 blue label, so it didn't get a grade bump, but I'm still happy to have it in the collection nonetheless, as now I have the first print, the second print, the third print, as well as the price variation of this book. There are 4 printings in total across the entire special edition Excalibur series, and so wanted to get this to fill out the actual collection. Excalibur Special Edition was published in 1988. Now, the original blue label that I submitted didn't actually mention the actual printing on it, and so I got it for a bit of a steal, and so therefore now I'm able to complete my Excalibur Special Edition run. And then we have another Alan Davis signed book here from the Excalibur run. This is Excalibur 51 from June 1992, published by Marvel Comics. As you can see here, this is not necessarily a key issue, but it is a newsstand, and these are quite rare in this later part of the run. So I wanted to grab this and get it graded. Unfortunately, I only got a 9.4. This wasn't previously a book that had been graded, so it was straight from my raw collection. So I'm okay with that grade. It's just good to have Alan Davis's signature, and the fact that it's a newsstand makes it just that little bit special for me. Next up, we've got Secret Wars number 5 from November 1985, published by Marvel Comics. This one's a bit of a classic for me because it features the first appearance of the mutant Boom Boom. It was also signed by Jim Shooter, who wrote the book, as well as Al Milgrom, who did the interior art. So a great pickup for me, regardless of the grade. As you can see here, we managed to get a 9.6. This again was a raw book that came from my collection, so I'm okay to get a 9.6 on this. This one's pretty special too. This is DC Comics Presents number 26, published by DC in October 1980. This features the first preview appearance of the new Teen Titans and the host of characters that came with that. It's beautifully signed by George Perez and by Jim Starlin. Now, George had previously signed this, and this was a previously 9.6 signature series book, which I cracked out for the event specifically, and then we took it over to Jim Starlin, who was attending, to get him to sign. This is a great book to get into the collection with both those great creators on the book. Again, this was originally a 9.6, did get a clean and press by CGC, however, didn't get that grade bump on this occasion. But again, regardless of that, it's a fantastic book to have dual signed. The one thing I will be looking at is whether I can get Marv Wolfman, who wrote this book, and get the trifecta on this submission as well. And who knows, I might get a grade bump next time. Next up, we've got this copy of G.I. Joe Real American Hero, issue 21, published by Marvel Comics in March 1984. I was really pleased and chuffed to be able to meet Larry Hama, who signed this book. Again, this was originally a CGC book that I had blue label, and it was a 9.4. Unfortunately, during the clean and press, it didn't get a bump as well, so it stays at the 9.4. This is notable because it is the silent issue, which has no words throughout, so quite a groundbreaking issue. And to have it signed by Larry Hama, it's a great addition to the collection. Next up is this great sketch commission that I had done by Mike Henderson, who was also at the show. I'd reached out to him prior and asked him if he could do a sketch cover recreation on the Amazing Fantasy Facsimile edition that you can see in front of you. I asked him specifically to recreate the Amazing Fantasy 15 cover art, but then on top of that, add on the wraparound an image of the Green Goblin. So you can see the Green Goblin attacking on the back side of the cover here, and the various pumpkin bombs flying around, which, if you look again at the front cover, you can see on the right hand side. So a great commission to get back from Mike. If you're ever at a show and you see Mike, his work is absolutely astounding. And even the CGC team, when I was submitting this book, was super impressed and said that this was one of the best commissions that they'd seen throughout the entire weekend at Heroes Con. Again, Mike Henderson, I'll leave a link down below in the description so you can follow his account and see other sketches and work that he's done. Mike's work's most notable at Marvel for his Old Man Logan run, as well as the Nailbiter series at Image Comics. I've had a number of commissions done by Mike, and every single time he delivers on the brief. He's a fantastic artist, and again, I'd urge you to seek him out if you haven't heard of him already. And the fact that this got a 9.8 as well just is the icing on the top of the cake for this one. So super happy to get this amazing fantasy cover recreation in the collection. Penultimate book here, and another one signed by the legendary Al Milgrom. This is Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man issue 100 from Marvel Comics in March 1985. I wanted to get this one graded because it features a cover appearance of Spot, and obviously with the next Into the Spider-Verse movie coming out, wanted to grab another signed copy of this particular intro run for that character. Unfortunately, this book didn't grade too highly, achieving only a 9.2, but nevertheless, super happy to have another Al Milgrom signed book in the collection to go along with the first appearance of Spot that he signed for me previously at another show. And finally, we have this book. Now, you would have seen from the thumbnail, there's an issue with this book. First of all, it's not a yellow label, despite this being a signature series submission. It's got Larry Hama's signature on there. And you would have seen another book in this same submission signed by Larry Hama with the label. So this is book 11 of the submission. And unfortunately, in quality control, CGC failed to do the correct label and make this a signature series book. I have reached out to CGC as I got the books back yesterday. They are arranging for the book to come back to them to be reholded and relabeled. So they are covering the costs, and at least I'm able to sort of submit this book back to them as a mechanical error. However, how they missed this, no idea. And they've not been able to give me a rationale reason why that happened, particularly considering there was another G.I. Joe American Hero issue 21 in the same submission, signed by the same creator. So I'm at a loss to understand how CGC in quality control could have missed this one. Good news is though, it's getting fixed, and unfortunately I'll be without my book for a few weeks, but at least I'll be getting it back, and it should be a signature series when it does come back. I'll let you guys know as soon as that happens. So that's it. I really hope you enjoyed seeing those books. I really got a kick out of them as well. Unfortunately, that one error at the end is so disappointing, because why or how could they make a mistake like that? But luckily it's getting resolved, which is good news for everyone. It does raise the question though, what's going on with CGC's quality control? If you've had any issues with CGC, please leave a comment down below and let me know what your experiences have been with their quality control of recent times. Before we go though, if you haven't already, make sure to click that subscribe button and ring that notification bell for future content. And if you liked the video, please hit that like button on the way out. And with that, take care of yourselves. Look forward to seeing you very soon. Don't forget to check out our other videos or our weekly live stream, the Merry Monday Mail Call Show, as well as follow us at Still Only 35 Cents on Instagram, Facebook, and X. Nuff said.